Memory wire is a more versatile wire than you may think. Next up, memory wire rings. So today we're going to talk about memory wire rings. One of my absolute favorite things to make is rings, and I love doing them in memory wire because they're adjustable and they fit lots of different people, and they also kind of make these wraparound fun designs. So I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. For one thing, there actually is a ring memory wire. So we're going to start with the ring memory wire and show you how to make a basic memory wire ring that wraps around your finger several times. But then we're also going to talk about how to make a memory wire ring if you don't have ring memory wire. So we're going to use standard necklace memory wire to make the ring. It's kind of cool. So stick around. Let's get started. All right, so we are going to get started with memory wire today. This is a ring style memory wire, which is actually meant to make rings. Kind of cool. You can't always find this stuff. It can be very difficult to find, but it's really neat because it's sized for your finger. And as you can see, it kind of looks like a child's toy, but it's a spring hard wire that always goes back where it started, so it remembers. Now, we're also going to use a necklace memory wire. Now, this is a heavier duty memory wire. It's a little thicker than the ring memory wire, but it works great for these spiral wraparound rings. You can get this in necklace or bracelet form, and either one works great for this project. You're also going to need a memory wire cutter. It's very important that you have a certain cutter to cut your memory wire because it actually is a tempered steel wire, so it's very important that you cut it with the right tool. This is a memory wire cutter, so make sure you get one of those. We're going to be using a bail shaping type plier. This is called a wrap and tap plier that is perfect for making ring size rings. So we're going to use that, and I got some other things here, including some glue. This is a bead fix gel. It's like a super glue, but it doesn't dry quite as fast, and it kind of is a little bit really like a gel, so it stays in place while you're trying to place your pieces. We're going to use memory wire end caps, which are very difficult to find, but great for ending the rings because they only have a hole on one side. And then we're going to have some rubies and some turquoise and some gold beads and some black spinel to make our pieces. All right, we're going to get started with a little wraparound ring. And so I'm just going to show you a couple here so you can kind of see what we're doing. This is just one exactly like what I'm going to do. You can see I've got some beads on the end. Those are glued on the ends. And then I just have some other beads. These are blue apatite, and that's Amazonite with some 24 karat gold over seed beads between. And it just wraps around 3 times. This one's a little bit longer, kind of the same process with rubies and emeralds. And so on the one I'm getting started with today, I have cut a piece of memory wire that is about 2.5 spirals. So to do that, what you do is you just pull your memory wire out, you count your spirals, go as far as you want, make sure you have a little bit of an overlap, and then just clip the wire using that memory wire cutter. And that way, and then you can check like, oops, I got a little bit too long, I think, on this one, so I can just kind of, no, I think it's actually a pretty good length. So you just want to make sure that those 2 beads on top just have a little bit like a 1/4 inch overlap. You can do it different if you want to. I just think it looks good like that. All right, now the next step was, and I've already started with this because I wanted my glue to dry before we got started, but the next step is to put one of those little memory wire end caps onto one end so that the beads don't fall off the other end while you're stringing. So you can see I've just got one of those caps on there. I'll turn it to the top so you can see there's only a hole in one side, and it's glued on there with that bead fix gel, so it's not going to go anywhere. And I'll just hold one up here and show you if I was to put one on the other side. There's the hole, and I would just press that on there like so after putting a little bit of that bead fix gel in place. And we'll do that when we get to the other side. So that one's already there. So now, really, this is a really easy project because all you have to do is pick beads that fit on the memory wire and start stringing them on there in the pattern you want. So this happens to be a 24-ish gauge wire. So I found some beads that would fit on a 0.5 millimeter wire. And those included my turquoise and my rubies and my 24 karat gold over seed beads. So you just string the first bead on that you want, and you can push it all the way around if you want to, or you can kind of let those kind of move into place as you go. But I'm just going to bring it all the way around up to my bead cap. Okay, so I've got my first bead on there, and so I'm just going to continue stringing. The hardest part about ring memory wire is it's really small and it's a little spiral, and it also remembers where it wants to be or where it already was, so it goes right back to there. And so you have to kind of hold on to it from one side and keep that little piece kind of away from its friends. Okay, it gets easier as you go. So now I'm just going to put on a small bead, and then I'm going to put on a ruby. So I'm just going to keep stringing until this is full. So there goes one of my little gold seed beads. And then here goes another ruby. So really the hardest part at this point is remembering to go every other bead and not missing a ruby or missing a seed bead. So see how they're kind of going on there, and they just kind of go around and around and around. So okay, so now that we've got our pattern in place, all our beads are on here, all we have to do is end this. And we're going to end this the easy way. We're going to use a memory wire end cap. Now, if you do not have a memory wire end cap, you can actually just glue a bead onto the end. That's what I've done with these. And you know, if you look at the very end, yeah, you can see a little bit of the memory wire in the end of the bead, but it's really not that big of a deal. The cool thing about the end caps is they only have a hole on one side, so it's a beautiful professional way to end these particular pieces of jewelry. So I'm basically just holding on to this with a flat nose plier so I can keep my piece of wire available. And what I'm going to do is just open up my glue, and I'm using a gel style super glue because it's, I don't know, it's like gel, it stays in place. And the other kind of super glue, I don't know if you guys have noticed, it kind of comes out really fast and it's hard to keep it in its place. All right, so I'm just going to add a little bit of that glue to the end, like so. And then I'm going to get one of these little memory wire end caps. There's just a hole in one side, and I'm going to pop that onto the end of the memory wire, and then we're just going to let that sit until that glue sets up. And that's all there is to doing that. I definitely want to put the lid back on my glue here so that doesn't go crazy on me. And so then while that's setting up, I'll show you how to make the other style memory wire ring. So we're done with our rubies and our end caps and our little beads. That's sitting there to dry. I'm going to pull out this necklace style memory wire. Now what I'm doing this time is I'm going to make one of these style rings. You can see they kind of wrap around and around and around my fingers, and then I just have one bead on each end. You can use the end caps on this if you want to as well, or you can not. I did not use end caps on mine. I just glued a simple bead on each end, and I think they're just super adorable. So that's the way we're going to do it today. So what you do is you take just a standard memory wire. You can use the standard size, the 0.5 millimeter memory wire, or you can use this heavy duty memory wire, which is nice because it's thicker. It's about 1 millimeter thick, and it just looks really good for these bypass style or wraparound rings. So the next step is to take a bail shaping plier of some sort. I like to use this wrap and tap plier because it's big enough to make a ring and it can make multiple sizes. I found that the smallest 13 millimeter shaper here makes a really nice 6 to 7 size ring, and then the next size up makes a really nice 8 to 9. So you have a couple sizes. You can actually push the rings up a ring mandrel, a steel ring mandrel, and expand them a little bit if you want to. But today we're just going to go ahead and make one with the smallest size here. And the key to doing this is to just start wrapping and keep your wraps on the outermost edge of the bail shaping plier so that they move away from you as you wrap. So I am just going to start wrapping around here, and I'm just doing a nice tight wrap and not really worrying about the wrap I made before the wrap I'm making at present. So I'm just going to keep coiling around, and they will just automatically, as long as you move right around the bail shaping plier, they'll automatically be the same shape and size. Now, memory wire is a spring hard wire that remembers its shape. The cool thing about it is when you manipulate the shape, it remembers its new shape. It's a really smart wire. All right, so I'm just going to kind of keep going. You can go as many times around as you want to. I've got a couple that are 5, a couple that are 3. It just kind of depends on what you're feeling at the moment. And then you use that memory wire cutter to clip that off. And then you just kind of tug on it a little bit, like so, to expand the rings. Like, see, I already did this one right here. I like to keep them a little closer together in the back because I just think it's more comfortable to wear. And then a little farther apart on the top because it looks prettier. All right, the next step is to add those cute little beads. Now I've got some black spinel here, and I've been wanting to make one of these in golden black spinel because it looks like a black diamond ring, so that's what I'm gonna do today. And it's essentially the same process as we just did to glue the memory wire end cap onto the basic memory wire ring. So all you're gonna do is, I've glued 3 of my fingers together today during this video too, so don't feel bad if you glue some fingers together. And I'm just gonna take the lid off of my glue. Then, now one thing I do find helps when you're doing this is to kind of rough up the end of the memory wire a little bit, especially when you're using the super glue type glue. And you can use any type of tool or plier to do that, but I find it holds better if you rough up the end a little bit. So I'm just gonna kind of do that with my flat nose plier. Didn't do it on this one, but I kind of wish I had, so that's just a tip from me to you that helps make a difference in things when you're gluing them. So just put a little bit of that glue on each end, like so, and since we're using the gel type, it stays where you wanted it. Close that up. Find your holes in your beads and pop that onto the end like so. Use a little something to get that extra off of there. There we go. And other side, same thing. Cool thing about black spinel is it's really hard to find the holes in the black spinel to start with. So if somebody looks at the end of this, they're not likely to see the hole in the black spinel. All right, just got a little extra glue off there. And there, that one is ready to go. It just needs to sit for a while until that glue dries. Pretty easy, huh? All right, if you enjoyed that project, let me go through some of these tools and supplies for you so that you can get started. First of all, we used memory wire. We started with a basic ring style memory wire. That's a 0.5 millimeter basic memory wire in gold tone. And then we used some heavy duty necklace memory wire to form our rings. We had some basic tools. I had a memory wire cutter, which is probably one of the most important tools you'll buy if you start working with memory wire, so you don't ruin your basic cutter that you have at home. We also used a wrap and tap plier to shape our rings. And then I don't know if you saw this, but I did slip in a flat nose plier there to hold on to my ring while I was waiting to get that glue in place. As far as beads, I used some rubies and some Hubei turquoise, a memory wire end cap on each end, and then I used some 24 karat gold over seed beads, and of course, my gel bead fix glue. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys would like to pick up some tools and supplies like the ones we've worked with today, check out the links down below. Tell us something that you've done with memory wire that's been a little outside the box. Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and I'll see you again next time.